Still I keep trying again and again. I think I'm broken, I can't find all of the pieces. Can't seem to find them anywhere. My sanity scattered only God knows where. Now all I can do is sit and stare. Now all but gone, maybe gone for good this time. Now it ain't gonna change, you can't do anything about it. Still no relief for this pain. I can't fight anymore and I really don't wanna die. Just want this pain to go away. Broken, I can't find all the pieces. Can't seem to find them anywhere. Try to pick them up, put them back there to find another home. to mend. It's impossible to make whole. No, it can't be fixed. It took so long to understand this. Still I keep trying again and again. I think I'm broken, I can't find all of the pieces. Can't seem to find them anywhere. My sanity scattered only God knows where. Now all I can do is sit and stare. Now all but gone. Maybe gone for good this time. Now it ain't gonna change, you can't do anything about it. Still no relief for this pain. Now I can't fight anymore and I really don't wanna die. Just want this pain to go away. Broken, I can't find all the pieces. Can't seem to find them anywhere. Try to pick them up, put them back, then I find another hole.
Here, we'll do the slow transition. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome into the Stream to No One. This is the Stream to No One, which there's increasingly more and more someones.
nice.
So every now and again we still have the streams to no one, but there's more and more someones every time. So as I go through my buttons and turn my stuff on, so let's see, I think Steve's mic is on now.
Check.
There, it's better.
Check.
That's better.
Nice.
Nice. So the idea tonight was on, hi everyone, on Monday, which is the day after tomorrow, today's the 27th, 29th, April 29th, MeL Muzic, the third release of this year, which is more releases than the last 5 years. Right, that's, someone guaranteed me that I would release more music this year than I have in the last 5 if I allowed them to help me.
Yeah.
And they were right.
All right.
So, and it's only April, so that's good. Good and Broken is scheduled for release, and so that is if the distributors and all of the major platforms actually do what they say they're going to.
Yeah.
Then it should be released on Spotify, iTunes, and I think it's something like 40 or 50 different.
That's awesome.
So that's the third one this year and the fourth one in total since I unquit. Because a couple of years ago I quit, which is basically the reason. The basis of this song is a bunch of friends came and pulled me out of a chair and said you can't quit.
That's cool. So you gotta be excited.
Yeah, so that's the basis of tonight, and you know, in some of the conversations you and I had about music over the years, Steve's wife and my wife have been friends since like 5th grade. They're best friends. So at times, Steve and I have had to stand off to the side and just have private chats.
But deep and meaningful chats.
Absolutely.
And mostly about music because we're both passionate about music. Me is more as a fan,
right,
and a fan of MeL Muzic and you and your music, but music in general, and the metamorphosis of music and how it happens and how it comes together, and you know, some of what we're going to talk about tonight I think has to do with that.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that it would be a good opportunity to have someone in and help me discuss how to do this, because obviously on my own it's a little difficult, and you seemed like the perfect person as we discuss some of this. So I'm gonna let you,
We'll see how perfect.
We'll see how perfect, right? So I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna sit back, and we're gonna do like this would be I don't know. Name your interviewer.
It's not going to be like 60 minutes.
60 minutes?
Yeah, it's not going to be like that.
No.
It's going to be more...
It's going to be like the guy that would to catch a predator? Is it going to be like that?
No,
I hope not. No.
Who's a conversational sort of interviewer?
I don't know.
Larry King? No, not like that.
I don't know.
We'll do it. We'll figure it out.
I like the new David Letterman format. Have you seen that? My next guest needs no introduction.
Yes, very good. Well done. Yeah,
it's a good format. It's very...
Yes,
at home and
kind of a no pressure thing, which I think we've got going quite well here.
That's the idea. And then a little later I'm gonna play the song. I did play the song as an intro, so if you were here around for the intro, I did play the song. But I'll give you an acoustic version of it a little bit later. So all right. So I'm gonna sit back and make sure I'm in the camera shot here. All right, fire away. What do you got?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for letting me do this. I kind of do this stuff for work, and while that's interesting, it's not quite as fun as this, because this is the kind of subject matter that I can sink my teeth into much more.
I'm listening. I'm checking levels because I want to make sure people can hear you.
Cool. Let me know if I need to pipe in a little bit more.
Yeah, bring that a little closer.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's way better.
All right, good. So again, thank you for asking me and letting me do this. It's a treat. The song, Good and Broken. It's important to you. I think it says a lot. Why don't you let everybody know, and let's start with what's the inspiration for the song?
I alluded to it a little bit in that a couple in the last year I've said this at a couple of shows, and a couple of years ago I had decided that after 25 years or 20 plus years of doing MeL Muzic, which is my personal original music project and original music and music in general since I was 15, 16, 17, forget it. I'm not doing it anymore.
And that was how old were you at that point?
This is 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Okay.
50.
Forget the age. Just how recently was that?
It's like 2 or 3 years,
Okay.
3 years ago. So like, I just decided somewhere during the pandemic maybe, or shortly after, like the way the world was working, and I felt like a square peg in a round hole. I still do, but like that there isn't a place for me. Like trying to go out and play original music in an atmosphere, trying to do what I do. Every time I would go out, it just didn't work. No one paid attention. My joke is always, I don't play Brown Eyed Girl. I don't play Margaritaville. There's nothing wrong with those songs. It's just not what I do. And the places that I would try to play just seemed that those were the only gigs that I could ever get.
Where people want to hear the same damn song.
They just want to hear that stuff, and it's not what I do. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just I'm trying to do something that it just seems like I just felt like I was in the wrong place in the wrong time, and like I'm beating my head up against the wall, and I've been doing it for so long. At some point, you just have to stop beating your head up against the wall, because it's like, why do I have a headache? Mm-hmm. So I decided to start building guitars. Like that's literally what I did. And it's something I still enjoy doing. But I was also very bottomed out, depressed. There's a line in the song where, all I could do was sit and stare, where literally I would come home from work and sit in my house and look out the window, because I've always been a very motivated person, and I had no motivation in my life.
Yeah, that's rough.
Couldn't fix, there's a lot of things in disrepair around here, because there was a number of years where I couldn't even do anything that needed to be done. And then now for the last couple of years, I've been working on music a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, getting a little bit deeper, the song's about where your head was at, and mental health and all of those things, kind of self-analysis.
Yeah, well, sure. Because, it took being married to a very patient and wonderful person who understood that I was struggling and trying to find, at a different point in my life, my kids were older, and we still have Jack, who's younger, but still, getting to a point where purpose is different. Things are changing, but all those things, and yet the things that I had aimed for weren't coming. Didn't seem like this is I have to make some different choices, or just I don't know, like this
didn't feel right. All the things that you had been doing for years that felt right suddenly didn't feel right. Is
like accurate? just a deep sadness about like no expectation of it was a hopelessness. It was generally a hopelessness, a depression and a hopelessness, and eventually I sought some help to begin to figure out where that was. Like I struggle with. I've made no secret about being an alcoholic. Being in recovery for 15 years.
Congrats.
I don't need. Thank you. People always say that. I don't need congratulations, but it's it is something that takes continual, like, I have to pay attention to it for myself, but it's just my own journey. But then I still struggle with, I'm overweight. I have to pay attention to what I eat all the time. I'm constantly like, I need to take better care of myself. I need to blah, 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 blah. There's all these things. There's this list of things in my head that just seems to never.
Yeah.
And but then what the whole point of the song is, in a bigger scheme is that everybody is this.
Yeah.
Like everybody in one way or another feels broken. And the point is like I was like in a bad spot, but like I feel broken. You know, I think I'm broken. I can't find all the pieces is the metaphor. Like where are the pieces? I don't know.
Yeah.
So like I feel broken.
Yeah.
But at some point when you start examining, you realize that everybody feels that way at one point or another. But everybody has to find their own way to put the pieces back in.
You know, there's an interesting line that you have in there because you said, and I'm looking at, for those of you who can't see this, but I'm looking at the lyrics, and I listened to the song numerous times. Can't be fixed, which is defeatist, but then I keep trying, which is like, those things kind of clash over each other. So, and that's got to be the conflict in not only your head, but like you said, everybody has those moments. How you handle them, different for everybody. But, you know, talk about yourself. Like, there's that, we were talking before this started, that it's almost like a guilt thing. Like, God, I feel so horrible and I can't be fixed. I got to keep trying.
Right.
So that's like,
well, certainly,
almost, you know, clashing against each other.
There's a as I struggled with some of the issues and feeling as down as I did, and then you look at some of the issues that people deal with in the world, whether it, you know, so much larger and so much more difficult circumstances than I am struggling with. It doesn't diminish how I feel, and this is what you learn in therapy. Like your feelings are not invalid, but you know, the thing that people struggle with and that I struggled with and that I continue to, like, at times, because like I'll explain some of that later, but like you feeling bad because I know that my problems are minuscule compared to, you know, let's say some of the people in the Middle East, for instance, or you know,
people in Chicago who are food insecure.
Right, whatever. Like you could find
that's right down the damn street.
Right, 1,000. You can find 1,000 examples in a heartbeat that are 100 times more dire than anything that I am dealing with.
Right,
but it doesn't. Right, and what you learn in therapy with the help of a professional is that it doesn't invalidate what you're feeling, but when you're struggling, you in your own head, like it exacerbates the whole thing because you're like, I don't even deserve to feel bad about this. And then it makes you feel worse. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's almost like a spiral.
It's absolutely a spiral, and it's also for someone who's had some pretty big issues throughout my life, like struggles and like, you know, growing up in some tough situations, and then you find yourself in these tough spots from time to time. It's not like the first time I've had some of these depression type issues. The spiral is a real thing. So figuring out that you're in it, or figuring out that you're entering it, or figuring out when you're deep in it and how to get out of it, or, you know, you're stuck in the ditch, how do you get the car out? Like there's all different versions of that if you deal with depression, the older you get, you become more familiar with the different parts of it, and the beginning, the middle, and the end. And the truth is, if you deal with it, it's like any other addiction. Mm-hmm. It's always there. Mm-hmm. It's like there's never a day where I'm cured. It's not over. There's going to be another day, no matter how good things are for me, where it's not a good time.
It doesn't feel right.
Right.
Yeah. So the you know, what's interesting though is that you said at the beginning of this that you've released more music this year than you have
in long time.
Yeah. So something's working. Maybe you can talk a little bit about maybe turning a corner. Maybe.
Well,
sounds
sure.
Like it.
There's a couple of things that happen. Specifically, a choice that we talked a little bit about. I'm a huge fan of broadcast radio in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. So different broadcasters. There's one broadcaster who was on WXRT, Lynn Bramer, when he was diagnosed with cancer. that he was just a radio DJ for many people. He was just the guy that was.
Yeah, but he was connected.
Well, right.
Like, I was connected to that guy because I was so sad when he went off of mornings. Because that's how I started my day for like 20 years. Going into the city to go to work, on my way to work, listening in the car. That guy was
He started on
he was
XRT when I was a
sitting next to
first-year
me.
apprentice.
He was sitting next to me when I was in the car, like all that time. I
Right.
didn't realize that. That's pretty
He was your
cool.
best friend in the whole world.
He was my best friend in the whole world.
Well, the
And
shirt
he was
I'm wearing today is the Lynn
I saw
Brammer
that.
shirt.
I saw that. And he was a Cubs fan, which was freaking awesome.
Right. He was just a he made you feel he was an amazing broadcaster because he made everybody feel like he really was your best friend. And he made you feel like you knew him because essentially you did, because he wasn't pretending, or he was just this guy. But when the day that he was on the air and announced that he had cancer and that he had to take a break and to go work on treatment, I was devastated. And he's not a family member. He's not a,
Yeah.
but I really was devastated, and it really affected me in a way that like I better start doing some of these things that I've been planning to do in my life, because there's,
And he probably was like our age.
he's
Was he
like
a
10
little
years older than, like,
was he?
we're
Okay.
roughly in our he was like in his early 60s, I think.
Okay, not that far up.
So, he's maybe 7 or 8 years older than us, but not that much older.
Right.
And that's the other thing, is the sand starts to run out in the hourglass. You start to look around like, well, there's a whole lot of things that I thought I had more time to do, and time goes by pretty fast when you're not paying attention. And so I better get to doing some of these things, because you get busy raising kids and doing this and doing that, and then you get tired when you get older, so you don't get as much done. And all of a sudden it was like, well, the things that in my life, music has always been important, and I never stopped doing it entirely, but it was always the thing that was like, well, let's see, I have to, on the basic level, mow the grass or do this, but then I also have to fix the house. And then, well, when I bought this property, well, I have this building that I'm going to make into a studio someday. So while I go to work and keep the grass mowed and take the kids to baseball and then softball and then the this and then the do that and then but I'm going to work on that building. And then every once in a while, I'm going to try to play my guitar a little bit. Well, eventually you never really get to the music. It's always about, eventually I'm going to get to the music. I'm going to finish all these things and then work on my music. Well, all of a sudden I was 53 years old or 52 years old, and I still hadn't really gotten to the music. I'd helped other people with their music. I had produced records for people when I finally did build this place. And then people would say, hey, could you help me? And I want to be helpful. And I had to tell somebody that I've helped make records for recently, like, I'm super sorry, but you should probably look for somebody else to produce your record this year, because I have to work on my record.
Yeah, it's a decision.
Because I've made more records for you in the last 10 years than I have for me. Because I've made 0 for me, and I've made 3 for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that even, how much you're paying attention to yourself feeds into that, because you have to, I think my wife might disagree with me, but I'm terrible at rewarding myself. I always feel like there's more to do. There's more to do. There's more to do. No, you don't do that for yourself, because you should just keep going and going and going, and that's not healthy.
Well, but on some level, if you're aware, if you're self-aware of, if you're aware of the people you care about, and you're trying hard not to be a selfish person, it's hard to find the balance between making sure that you're allowing stuff for yourself and not being selfish. And it's hard to know where that line is in anything that you're doing, when you're being, like self-deprecating humor is, an effort to, just any of those kinds of things, finding a way to find the straddle line between those things. Those are complicated issues. Yeah. The whole thing about the point of this song, and as it took me longer to release it than I expected it to. It took me longer to finish it. I spent time mixing it. I struggled with getting it right. And as I realized, as it took longer, that May was Mental Health Awareness Month. It seemed fitting that perhaps, it took me longer for a reason.
Yeah.
And every time I played it this last year, I would make sure to take a moment and say at a live show, in a moment of seriousness, look, if you need help, get help. If you feel alone, you are not. You do matter, and find someone to talk to if you need someone to talk to, because it does matter. And so
was that sorry to interrupt, but was that like kind of a conscious decision? Because before this started, we were talking that because you're releasing it on Monday, and I had said, but I heard you perform this song before, and that was at Two Brothers in Aurora, and you were like, that's the first time we ever played it.
Well, I wrote it,
which was super cool.
I wrote it like I literally found a reference that it was like 11 months ago I started recording it, so I think I wrote it about a year ago.
Wow.
And
so was there any conscious decision, or did it just kind of play out that way, that this is being released right?
Just sort of kind of happened.
It's a happy accident.
Right. I started recording it and just getting people together and getting the parts finished and getting it right. I had one of these things to try to get stuff done was to write things on a calendar and make a deadline, and the deadline was actually the middle of March. And I missed it, but I wasn't going to release it, in the state that it was in March. So I just, kept working at it and just moved the deadline back and really decided that I was going to get it done by the end of April. So we just made it under the wire. So, but then once I realized at some point, hey, wait a minute, I know I heard a while back that I think May was this thing, and it just seemed like a very good, I don't know what's
dovetails.
What's the
very
right
nicely.
some kind of coincidence or whatever, happy accident.
Happy accident. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about the title. I think there's a story behind the title, isn't there?
Well, just the sense of feeling broken, like the chorus essentially, I think I'm broken. I can't find all the pieces. Was kind of the sort of the hook, like there's a like a puzzle. Like if you have a puzzle and you're trying to put the puzzle together, but then there's pieces missing, and the puzzle never really gets put together. That's sort of the image that I was working from in my head as I was writing the song.
Yeah.
A puzzle that you can't ever completely put together because you really don't have the pieces. And it just, the working title, it was just broken for a while, but I'm not just broken. I'm good and broken.
But didn't you tell me that there's a reference to Dawn in the title? Isn't that what she calls you?
Insane? No.
I thought there was a reference where you told me that she referred to you as good and broken.
I don't think so. I think we're confusing stories.
Nah, maybe one of those backroom stories.
No, I don't remember that. I'm trying to remember because we must be confusing stories. Because she calls me a lot of things. All
right, never mind. What do you want people to get out of the song?
That it's when you feel like it's a mess, or that you're in it alone, or there's no solution, or it's not going to get any better, or because I can tell you 2 years ago, I can remember in the first half a dozen visits to my therapist that I've been going to for a year, I'm like, it doesn't get any better. This is it.
You mean he said that to you?
No, these are my words.
Okay.
Like, it's never going to get any better. But it's better. It's better.
That's good.
It's better. So things do get better. You just have to work through, and sometimes you don't even know what it is that's causing the difficulty. As I work through some of the stuff, a lot of the things that I'm struggling with go all the way back to childhood.
Yeah.
That are things that I'm carrying because of difficulties from childhood that you just
I think that's a genesis of anybody's, including even myself.
It's survival mode though. Like you figure out once you have kids and once you have this and you're like, it's you pack yourself into a survival mode issue. Like you have to set that somewhere so that you can survive, because you won't survive if you don't. But then there's a point when you get, if you are lucky enough to get beyond some of those things, then all of a sudden you can start unpacking that stuff. Well, it's a little scary, but you can get through it because it's just stuff. Like.
Did you ever see the movie Some Kind of Monster by Metallica? Did you ever see that movie?
Is that when they made the record?
They made the album that didn't go over very well. I can't remember.
I did see that. I'm not even a huge Metallica fan, but I did enjoy that.
Interesting about it was they talked about James Hetfield going to therapy for the first time, and he disappeared from the recording process.
I do remember that.
He had to, and it the way the comments they were made is like, they don't just crack you open; they crack you open. And what he was dealing with. And
because you only want to fix this much, but unfortunately you have to go to the root of it. It's like
crack it open.
it's not.
That's hard. That's got to be hard.
It's unpleasant.
Hard. But also it seems that it's led to you just said it's better.
It's better.
It's better.
But it doesn't feel better at first.
It's work though, because it's work.
It is. There are days when I come home from there and it's draining. Like I can't have a conversation or, but it's a good thing. It's ultimately a good thing, and I do recommend therapy to anybody. And if somebody thinks that therapy is silly or a waste of time or a scam or, it's.
Or a sign of weakness.
It's
I think there's a stigma.
That's a great thing that I wasn't like looking at, but for sure it's really hard to look inside yourself and face the things that scare you and that you're afraid to look at about yourself and pull them out and examine them. And if you're working with someone who's good at their job, they help you. They challenge you when you need to be challenged, which sometimes you're sitting in the chair screaming at them and they'll yell back at you when they need to. And if they're good at what they do. And I feel like, the person that I'm working with has been great at that. And at the times when they're, telling me that, no, you're not doing the work you need to do right now. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to address your own personal weaknesses, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And when you start figuring out what it is, even when you know what it is that you're not so good at and you have to address it, it doesn't make it any easier to address it.
Sure. It's like we all have, all of us think it's baked into the way we all think and the way we all act and the way we're all raised, that we take care of ourselves physically, but it's not. I think we're getting there though as a society. I think that we're getting there where people realize, look, we all take care of ourselves physically, or at least we're supposed to, or at least we get that message. Doctors are making fortunes out there taking care of us physically. Right. Certainly pharmaceutical companies are, but now, like, I think there's a bit of a turn. We're not there yet, but there's a pretty big turn of, hey, we all need to take care of ourselves mentally. I think the business world is actually even looking at that. I've heard companies that I've worked for talk about mental wellness and wellness more than I ever did in the past. I mean, it's funny. The company I work for, if somebody has a baby, they will get, 6 months off. I took a week.
Right.
And it was a week of vacation. So It was, I had 3 weeks of vacation. That was one of my 3 weeks of vacation was after my babies were born.
Right.
And that's nuts.
And how old's Tyler?
Tyler's going to be 27.
Right. So 25 years ago, people got a week or two, and now at least some of those things are beginning to change. But like anything, it's a slow change. We're beginning to see some of those things that exist in other parts of the world that are a little more progressive than than maybe around here.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's those can only be good things. And there's always going to be a good and there's always going to be.
Well, I think one of the things that's positive coming out of this is you probably couldn't have this conversation 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't think you could. Or if you did, people would be like, dude, what's wrong with you, man? Don't you think?
Well, I bet there's even a segment of people who still think that.
Probably.
Sure.
Yeah. Or like I said, it's a sign of weakness, but it's really no different than, we go to the gym and we work on being physical and trying to be physically fit. How do we be mentally fit? I don't think it's taught. I don't think we know. I don't know. Like, if somebody says, Steve, how do you stay mentally fit? My answer would be, I have no fucking idea.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean...
But we're beginning to learn to, like, at least talk about stuff that we couldn't talk about before and be honest about things that are, just all of the things that at least men couldn't or whatever. Like, the difference, we're old enough where we straddle this age group difference that, our dad's age didn't say nothing.
Yeah, and I think it was detrimental.
For sure.
It's not good to harbor those things. So that's a good segue into the fact that it's Mental Health Month in May, and we can talk about these things, and you can write a song about it.
Right.
Yeah, and good for you for facing all that stuff and going out and getting the help, and glad to hear that the maybe the corner is turning. Let me ask you one question, and then we get to the song.
Yeah.
Or you want to keep going? It's up to you.
Well, why don't we play it and we can do a couple more? There's still nobody's left, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let me ask you about this. Came up just before we went live. You said you retired.
Yeah, and it's I'm fortunate that in that I have the opportunity. I started in the electrical union when I was 20 years old, and so taking a portion of my pension, which doesn't pay me much, it's definitely a sacrifice. It's a choice, but physically doing the job that I've done for 35 years has taken its toll on me.
Yeah.
Like, I physically was not intelligent in that. I was always the guy that, would carry one more thing than the other guy, or ran up the stairs, or did the thing because I was trying to prove something that didn't need to be proven, and or just was going to work harder or whatever.
You got a good work ethic.
Well,
I mean, it's detrimental, but
in my brain, it was based on a work ethic, but or thinking that I was going to, keep my job longer, or because in the construction industry, it's in that world, you switch contractors, and when you're working from the day you start, you're working yourself out of a job. So, like, you want to be the one left standing at the end, and it's very it's a different world, but
I can tell you that my thinking has always been do what the other guy won't.
Well,
and that's how probably you stuck around. I know it's how I've stuck around.
But it hurts, and at the age,
toll,
and then the thing that my grandfather was an electrician, my father was an electrician, and the thing that I learned from watching them is if you work long, you die young.
Yeah.
And that's harsh, but a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And when my father was ill near the end of his life, I a couple times I went in and just sat with him because he couldn't do too much, and watched television because he couldn't do too much.
Mm-hmm.
He lived out of state, and like I'd just drive there and sit and watch television with him for the weekend and come home. And I just remember once, he just looked at me and said, "I'd give back some of this money for a couple more healthy years."
Wow, that says a lot.
He said, "You should get out as soon as you can." And
that's a good message.
Well, but it's difficult because you can get out at a certain point, and then you start weighing, and they certainly discourage early retirement, and
They as in
the union,
because
it there's actuarials that are figuring out how much and who pays out, and
well,
so
you're feeding into the
right,
coffers,
right,
into their
and
coffers.
so for every year that you stay, then you're certainly, I make a lot more money working than I do collecting, leaving at 55. But the biggest thing is, I'm married to a wonderful person, and we struggled to make the decision together that at times was difficult. At one moment I want to leave, and she's nervous about it, and then in another moment she's like, you should leave, and I'm like, I don't think I should. And it wasn't always a pleasant conversation, but ultimately, knowing that health-wise, mentally as much as physically, my shoulders are wrecked, my knees are wrecked. It's hard to do many of the things like that. People who don't do that physical trade for 30 years, you wouldn't believe what it does to your body. You don't think it does, but you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then, so finally deciding to leave was difficult, but then I did. And as soon as I finally made the decision mentally, I'm pretty nervous about it, because it's not like I'm on easy street or anything, but it's a decision that, like we talked earlier about having first world problems.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can go out and play a couple gigs a month and make up the difference and do some things that don't hurt my body, and take care of a few things around here that I would have to pay people to do instead.
And might be a little bit more fulfilling than, not that work isn't fulfilling, and for men, maybe for women too. I think for men, it becomes part of our identity. It's what you do. And when you quit it, there's got to be probably a level of relief.
Well, it was yesterday, so it doesn't feel like it was.
Happened.
I just left work yesterday, and I just felt like Friday.
In my opinion, you win. Because I still got a few years to go, but then there's also a piece of, you got to feel like a piece of you is now.
It was weird.
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
Extracted.
Yesterday morning, I got up and made coffee, and I was sitting at the table, and I was like, and I literally added up the number of times in 35 years roughly is 9,000 mornings of making coffee and going to work.
Yeah,
give or take, and I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. I applaud you putting that in the rear view. I look forward to, for myself, putting it in the rear view. I can't wait. But yeah, I guarantee you when it happens, I'll have the same trepidation that you probably have.
I imagine everyone does.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't we try this? We'll see.
Do it up.
We'll see how it goes. All right. So those who are still around, I remembered reverb, and I forget it all the time.
Well, there's a sign around here that says.
There is.
Yeah,
it's over there. That doesn't even.
It doesn't even register sometimes.
I'm so used to seeing it that there's been times I've been halfway through the song and I go, then I notice the sign. So, all right. So here's Good and Broken. The end of the line, there's nothing left to mend. Impossible to make home. Can't be fixed, took so long to understand this. I keep trying again and again. I think I'm broken, I can't find all of the pieces. Can't seem to find them anywhere. My sanity scattered only God knows where. Now all I do is sit and stare. Burned out, used up, now all but gone. Maybe gone for good this time.
No, it ain't gonna change, can't do anything about it. Still no relief for this pain. I can't fight anymore and I really don't wanna die. Just want this pain to go away. I think I'm broken, I can't find all the pieces. My sanity is scattered all about. Try to pick them up and put them back, that I find another home. I think I'm good and goddamn broken. I think I'm broken, I can't find all the pieces. Can't seem to find them anywhere. My sanity scattered only God knows where. Now all I do is sit and stare. I think I'm broken, I can't find all of the pieces. My sanity is scattered all about. Try to pick them up and put it back, then I find another home. I think I'm good and goddamn broken. I think I'm broken. I think I'm broken. I think I'm good and goddamn broken. I think I'm broken. I think I'm broken. I think I'm good and goddamn broken. I think I'm broken. I think I'm broken. I think I'm goddamn good and broken.
I was gonna pull out on my phone like applause. Recorded applause, so you only get to hear it.
That's all right.
The applause of one, but
Thanks.
everybody watching, I'm sure, is applauding as well.
Right.
So it was awesome. Was it cathartic, Mike?
I don't know what that word means.
You don't know what cathartic means?
I don't.
Like a catharsis where you feel like you express yourself or you get something out. Ask your therapist; he'll know what catharsis.
Okay, I might have had gas a little. Sometimes that happens when I'm singing. A little, little bubble will pop out every once in a while.
As long as you're not Mike.
But, that's I don't know. We're all friends here, right?
Okay, yeah. Since we're all friends, can I ask you like the dumbest question?
You can ask any question.
This is almost an embarrassing question. The genesis of MeL Muzic. Why MeL? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Sure,
question.
that's a great question. I don't think that's a dumb question.
I feel like I should know that.
No,
I've been listening to you for like I don't know how many years.
It's okay.
I don't know.
There was a point where I was trying to like put this out there, and it's somewhere. It's just okay. So 25, probably 26 years ago. So like we just passed the 25th anniversary in November was the first time. And so, like, maybe 26 years ago right now, I had this group of songs that I had written, and I had always been a part of a band or a collective but I had this group of songs, and I was trying to think of a name for a project that was primarily my original music. And what I was trying to represent was an everyman concept, like a regular guy, which is what I consider myself, just a dude that like trims the hedges with a weed whacker, like
Lovely.
just not real, because I kind of do stuff like that. And the image of a person that kept coming to mind was the guy that was the cook on the television show Alice. Mel Sharples. And it just that sort of like
there's a movie that's coming to my head where, oh damn it, they're talking about like a tire and we're gonna build this clothing line, and they're talking about just like the most basic shirts, big blousy bowling shirts. Mel, what movie was? Oh God! But yeah,
is it the Rodney Dangerfield movie?
I think it. Yes, Easy Money.
Yes, it is.
Yes, big blousy bowling shirts. Mel.
Right. That's right. In the original Mel, like I have a gas station shirt with the Mel that was like 25 years ago. The first thing that was the concept. It was like a gas station shirt with the Mel patch on it. It's still in the closet that doesn't fit me anymore. But that's the idea. And it started out as just Mel. The band was just called Mel, and originally, then I made the first demo I made in 1999 was just a demo called Music Demonstration. And simultaneously, websites were a new thing, kind of new in the late 90s. And to secure a domain name, I was trying to get MeLMusic.com.
First becoming a thing.
Right. And Mel.com was gone. MeLMusic.com was taken by the Melbourne Music Festival. But I could get MeL Muzic with a Z. So I got MeL Muzic with a Z.
I was almost going to ask, like...
I got MeL Muzic with a Z.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, I'll take that. So I took that. And then when I...
Do you still have that domain registered?
I do.
Yeah.
So I still MeLMusic.com with a Z. Everything MeL Muzic, it was with a Z, comes from that concept. And then when I made the demo, it was at the same time. So I was making the cover art for the first, what I call the Purple Swirl record, which is from 1999. It's like a 7-song EP. I changed the lettering to MUZIC, so it said Music Demonstration, but music with a Z. And then, but it was written so like the way the logo exists, when you see the logo and it says MeL Muzic, underneath music it just said demonstration. So it was Mel, and then Music Demonstration, and then people started to think it was MeL Muzic, and the record was called Demonstration.
That's not bad.
And so that's really like, and it was like, well, that's sort of, all right, I'll go, like, and it just sort of ended up like just morphing into that gradually. And then at one point, not too long, I'm like, it never really, like, maybe it should just be Mel, and then it's just MeL Muzic. So that's it's nothing more complicated than that. I was trying to think of something simple, easy to remember.
No, that's good.
And that's,
I like it.
That's all it was.
I'm glad I asked, because that's a pretty good story. It is. That's not what I was expecting. I thought in some
way more complicated than that.
I thought in some way, shape, or form it was like some initials, or maybe it was like a family member who was named Mel you were honoring or something.
No.
It's just
that
every
stupid.
Man. It's everyman. No, not stupid. It's like you're thinking of the everyman. You're the everyman. I try to be. You try to be accessible, right?
Like I said, it's the guy that trims the hedges with a weed whacker. Yeah, that's sort of me.
They make other tools.
I know
to trim.
But most of the time, what ends up happening is like I'm just trimming. Like I got the weed whacker, and it's like
I might as well. Yeah, I'm here.
Well, that's a little long. And then the next thing you know, you're and you're trying to make like a swan or something, and doesn't work.
It wasn't successful. Right. Making a swan with a weed whacker? I don't think so. No, I don't think that.
None of that stuff ever happened. It's
all right. So what's next for MeL Muzic? You released this on Monday,
right?
You're gonna release other stuff.
There's a song in the pipeline. which I just changed the title to, and it was called. Let's see.
It was called, or is
It was called something that I'm not calling it that anymore, and I keep forgetting what I changed the title to, and that's bad, Mike.
Well, you're creating.
My brain
It's evolving.
My brain. I don't.
Is what you're saying.
My brain keeps. Let's stop pretending. That's what it's going to be called. It's a different line in the song, and that's coming along. There's we don't do a ton of shows because I haven't figured out. It's not like the people in the band. A couple of the guys play in several different projects because they're professional musicians, so they have to, in order to make a living, they play in several different bands, and so it's difficult to pin down days.
Yeah.
We do have another. We just literally yesterday or the day before came to terms. After hours of negotiating with two brothers again, so we're gonna play
nice.
in the gazebo there in
When?
September. So
Nice. For those of you who are listening or listening on the recorded version,
Right.
For somebody who's been in the audience at that event, go. Two Brothers is great.
Yeah.
Nice. First of all, great beer. Second of all, great food.
Yeah.
That place is a really good restaurant, and the venue, more importantly for music. I don't know. Did you like it?
Yeah. No,
It's
they're
terrific.
fantastic people, and they're super supportive of. It's one of the few venues that I've played in the last few years that have really, really supportive, really great, and gracious and wonderful. And so it was great, and they were asking several times for us to try to hammer things out, and it just wasn't in the cards until recently for us to. But
Just timing and dates. And
right,
shit like that.
and but we're able to get something before the end of the summer, and then we're gonna try to do some more stuff. Obviously, I had a few things that I had to finish up, like work and some bigger things that I'm trying to work on. But for me, performing in this venue and trying to do more things like this with the band is way more comfortable than trying to drag things out into a club. But I do need to do more of that, and but releasing more music, doing some live stream. We got the thing in June. It's essentially the glorified retirement party, but it's going to be a shindig, and we have
Can't wait.
a special guest that I don't know if I'm allowed to say over the interwebs who it is.
Let's keep that quiet. And just so everybody knows, going back to the Two Brothers thing, outdoor, huge gazebo, great sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the perfect venue. It's
great.
Really, really, really cool. So for those of you who are listening,
Yeah,
make
September
sure you
7th. That is.
get that one on your calendar. Set aside the time. Do you go? Who do you go see? Do you go to like live shows? Like somebody who I'm a huge fan of is Gary Clark. He's coming out.
Yeah.
He's going to be in Chicago in May, and I was like, oh, that's on a Monday. I don't want to go to a concert on a Monday, but you know what? For that guy, I'm going to go see Gary Clark on a Monday. Is there anybody that falls in that category? That you
I don't go to too many shows. I get uncomfortable in bars. It's really hard, but there's a couple folks that are like my favorite songwriters, and that I'll make an exception. Like somebody I really want to see that I'm going to try to, that I don't have tickets right now, is Jason Isbell. Is like my favorite songwriter right now.
Yeah.
There's a guy that is my absolute favorite songwriter in the whole world named Will Hogue, and he's in town in June, and he's playing at Hey Nani, and I have tickets to that. That's a small venue, but and then let's see, who did I go see? Well, I saw Los Lobos last year at Fitzgerald's. Last time I saw them was like in the 90s with John Lee Hooker.
My brother's a big fan of those guys, and he said they're really terrific. You know, that's of all the clubs in Chicago and blues bars and all that shit, I think I've been to all of them and never been to Fitzgerald.
Oh, you're missing
I know,
out.
and that's a mecca.
You're missing out.
I know.
I saw this is
And I grew up in Berwyn.
This is one of my favorite, like when I was still smoking weed and like still partaking in. But I was early in my apprenticeship, and I wasn't supposed to be smoking weed, so I was trying not to. And I went to see Los Lobos and John Lee Hooker. And so, like, I'm standing there, and I'm pretty close, and the joint goes past me. and then it goes past me this way. And John Lee Hooker's playing, and in between songs, John Lee Hooker would talk, and it sounded like this. What did he say? Anybody know what he said? And then people are laughing. Eventually, the joint goes by me, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to risk it.
Yeah.
Take 2 puffs off this joint. After the next song, he starts talking. He's like, it's pretty hot out there, ain't it? And I'm like, I know what he's saying now.
Now it's coming.
Now it's all perfectly clear. I just needed to be high. That's all it was.
Well, Junior, you know, kind of equates. Can I tell you a funny story?
Sure.
I was at, if you ever heard of Rose's Lounge, Junior Wells,
Yeah.
the harmonica player,
Yeah.
he used to be Muddy Waters harmonica player.
Yeah.
So we used to go to Rose's all the time, and I would always make sure to get there very early because I wanted to sit in the front table. So we always did that. And Tony Mangiulo was the owner. Got to know him. Excellent guy.
Fine Irish guy.
Fine Irish guy. So we're there one night, and Junior Wells has like this fold-out thing, all his harmonicas, and he's kind of looking around, and he just puts it on my table in front of us, me and the guys I'm with. That's cool. So as he's swapping out harmonicas, he's like right in front of us. He's like playing right here.
Yeah.
It gets to later and later in the evening, and his band is just, they're a bunch of, you could tell they're just morons. Like they're not into it. And during a song, one of them goes, sits over there and lights up a smoke. Like he needs a break. And Junior's kind of looking at him like, dude, what? And I can hear him mumbling under his breath, almost not to me, but
just in general.
Close enough that I could hear him, and he's like, motherfucking. He's not happy with this. Then another one of his guys goes and joins him. And Junior just grabs his shit, folds it up. I'm done with this shit. Boom. It's the door, man. And his band is like, did Junior just leave? And he just got fed up.
Yeah.
It was almost, I mean, I felt horrible for the guy because his band is taking a shit on him.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it was...
Yeah.
Those things.
That stuff is real, man. Right.
The things you see in live performances, are freaking hilarious. Man.
Right. Those little things. I have
Junior. No, wait. Hold on. Come back.
Hold on.
At that point, it was like 1 a.m.
One time I have 2 small blues stories, and then we should probably stop. I once played at the Checkerboard Lounge.
Whoa, that's big.
In like '92, and
is that still alive?
It was like the end of the.
It's not alive anymore.
No, God no. God no.
Yeah, that closed a long time.
Yeah,
ago. That was Buddy's place.
It was a disaster even then, and that was cool. Like it was cool, but I mean, it was scary when I was there.
Not in the best neighborhood, is that right?
It was horrible. It was 43rd and King, and it was like 92, and it was like,
yeah,
it was scary.
Yeah.
But I did it. I played there, and then playing at the Kingston Mines is Michael Coleman and these fellas and they would just play till 4 a.m, and there'd be like 3 people, and this is when my friends were going to school, art school, and it would just be like the end of the night. And so it's around the same time this other guy set up this open mic on a Monday night in what becomes Boys Town eventually, but this is it's Boys Town, but it was different than it is now. It wasn't quite the corporate Boys Town. Maybe it was less
ish. Yeah,
we're playing in a Grateful Dead bar in Boys Town, playing the blues, and I don't know the blues. I'm just playing bass wherever I can play, and I don't know standards. I don't know anything, and I'm playing with Junior Wells, guitar player.
No way.
Who might have been the guy who got in trouble.
It might have been.
And the drummer from Devo.
Wow.
Because Devo was totally dead at this point.
Wow.
And me. And the guitar player's like, hey, do you know Messing with the Kid? I'm like, well, I do. Now I do. But at the time, I'm like, no. And he goes, it goes in. I'm like, okay. He's like, it's like 145 and it's this. And I go, okay. He's like, 1, 2. And that was it. That's all I got. That was it. Off we went.
And this is in Kingston Mines?
It was some tiny little place called the Town Hall tap, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And those are the kinds of things that you learn to.
Oh my God!
You
Talk
learn.
about,
You just
like,
learn. You just learn.
Talk about like the
Trial by fire.
Yeah, the lessons.
Trial by fire.
You look back there and go, yeah, that was a good lesson. At the time, you're probably frightened as hell.
Terrified.
Terrified.
Yeah, 22, 21, white-faced little kid just trying to keep up.
And
They're
then,
like, eh.
and you got through it, so now you jump on stage and go, yeah, I got this. For real, right?
Right.
Right.
All right, we've been talking a long time. We had a bunch of people listen. Thank you. If you're still there, thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome. Man. This is a treat.
This is what happens. We keep talking and talking and talking. We'll probably talk for a half hour more. So,
Probably.
let's see. MeLMusic.com. Check out Monday with the release of Good and Broken, and then let's see. Next week, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'll have to figure that out. What other announcements? Thanks to on Good and Broken on the release. So the drums are Chuck Sansoni. The lead guitar work is Dave Benziger. The keyboard is Chris Orba, and backing vocals are Gene Price. Thank you guys for helping me with that. And then it will be on all major platforms. And then what else? I
Put it on your playlist, right?
Put it on, yeah, and share and put it on a list. Try to get somebody, phone a friend, so tell a friend, and we'll see if we can get some folks to play it. And thanks for listening tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you. I hope
Thank you.
I hope that those of you listening learned something new. So have a wonderful evening. And oh wait,
take care of yourselves
right.
and each other.
I've been trying to end with a bad joke. I started that 3 weeks ago, and Katie told me no. What was her joke? What is it that this is my daughter Katie's joke. When she was like real little, she used to come out in the studio and I would teach her to tell jokes when she was like 6.
Yeah.
She would walk around with a microphone and pretend to be a comedian, and they were horrible jokes. Like 7-year-old jokes.
But it goes over because she's 7.
Right. It was funny. But what did she tell me last night? It's terrible. And it's the only one I can think of right now. It is, what is a DJ's favorite pasta? What is a DJ's favorite pasta sauce?
Pasta sauce.
Yes.
Pesto?
Marinara.
What?
Marinara. You're laughing. So it worked. That's Katie's joke.
That's bad.
It's terrible.
But it's so bad it's funny.
Right. That's the idea. The whole idea is to tell the joke so bad that it's funny.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Mission accomplished.
That's the only one that I could think of at the moment. I got to start writing down a list of them, so when I get to here, I don't go, crap, I have to remember one. All right. So good night, everyone. Thank you for listening. We got to find this page, and then we say
Good night.
good night, all.